to the hustle. It's your girl Lena Seven right here. I'm so excited to have you guys tuning into my show. If I look a little weird, that's because I told you I'm a little swollen right here, but I'll be all right. I have some incredible guests on my show. I'm excited to have both Tari Cash as well as Craig Kirby on my show today. They are some real movers and shakers. I told you guys all about Craig, but we're going to have Craig get into all that he does because I never could do him justice on all the stuff he has done in our nation's capital, really, from a political perspective. He's been such a behind-the-scenes groundbreaker, someone who's been an incredible political operative in our nation's capital, that I never could really give him the true justice that he deserves for all that he's done. So we'll get into all that. And then, of course, Tari Cash. You know, first of all, her name is like all that and more. So, not to mention, she's a Harvard MBA. Yes, get it right, Harvard MBA. And then as well as that, she has worked for some of the top companies, Citibank, Under Armour, Tesla, and now herself. She is a founder of her own company, City Swing. So we're excited to have you guys here.
Right? Glad to be here.
Yeah. So tell me, guys, okay, so we'll get into the projects that you guys are both doing, but I really want to give you guys an opportunity just to talk about what brought you guys together, and then also Craig get into your vision, and then we'll get into like your history and things like that, okay? But really kind of talk about what bridged the gap between you guys and how you guys came together.
You gonna tell them the story about how you stalked me?
I will tell, yeah, I am. That's exactly the story because it's the truth, all right? So July 2018,
Okay.
I get 2 calls from 2 separate friends. And they're like, Craig, this black woman just started this golf thing downtown. You need to call her. So
was someone walking by? Were they just walking by?
They saw her on TV.
Oh, they saw her on TV.
Yes.
Okay.
They saw her on
right.
TV,
Okay.
and so that was call 1. And then
That's
call
one.
2
Call 2.
was, hey Craig, yo man, I was watching TV and I saw this woman. She looks like us, and she plays golf, and she's got this simulator, and you should go meet her. That's all they said. And so, I did what I do. I Googled her.
Research.
And I saw her, and I vetted her, and then I called her.
Okay.
And we met a few weeks later, and we just sat, and we had a really nice conversation.
Yeah.
And I shared with her what I was doing, what I wanted to do, the impact I wanted to make.
Okay.
And I said, I'm not doing what you're doing, but I'd like to be a part. I'd like to be associated with
Right.
what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is me. Call me.
And let me tell you it from my perspective. So
Okay.
when I first launched City Swing, I got a lot of calls. People from around the country were calling me saying, we love what you're doing. I had this idea. I wanted to do this idea. I want to partner with you. And I was overwhelmed at
Really,
the
Tari?
response.
That's great.
It is great,
That
but
is
it's
good.
also, I mean, it's there's 2 sides to every coin, right? There's
Okay.
one side where it's like, how do I decipher what's real?
Right.
And then there's the side that just says, this is amazing that I'm getting this much support. But Craig happened to email me or call me. The first couple that I got, I was like, put it in the folder with all the others. I don't know what to do with this right now because I'm really like trying to be laser focused on getting this thing off the ground.
Okay.
But he was persistent, and I think I got a couple of phone calls and a couple of emails, and I just can't stress enough how in that first meeting I was able to see how genuine he was
Yeah.
with the cause and how much he cared about truly fulfilling the mission of bringing others into the business and the sport of golf. Not others, us into
exactly.
the business and sport of golf. And it was instantly obvious to me that this was someone that I wanted to partner with.
Right.
I invest in individuals, and he is someone that I was like, yeah, this is a no-brainer.
Wow, that's very profound to
stalked
say
her.
that. So you stalked.
And it worked.
Well, look, this is one stalking situation. I understand, Craig.
Yeah, I'm happy. And I'm just going to tell you, her soul, her spirit, her heart, her gifts, and what she's doing, she's out there. And she has stepped out of her comfort zone.
Yep.
And that right there just says so much for what she's
Thank
doing.
you.
Right. But I think to a certain extent, though, Craig, you both have. And that's really what drew me closer to you guys.
Yeah.
And why I was so captivated initially when I first met you, Craig, you know, as to what the mission that you've taken on for the message. You know what I'm saying? It's
I do.
really been incredible. And then to hear Tari's story as to, you know, how she was looking to play golf. And, you know, we can get into all that, Tari,
Okay.
about how this really even came about. But how you were inspired, and then the fact that maybe you kind of left the whole corporate scene to kick off your own thing, and you left the whole political scene
Yeah.
to kick off your foundation and to really help bring golf, even just the opportunities that are associated with golf, not necessarily for people just to go out and be professional golfers, but just
Right.
to kind of expose people to the opportunities that come along with just a kind of understanding and being exposed to the game. Is so, you know, that's so powerful that both of you share that dream.
Well, if,
You
if
know?
I could just, golf offers so many unparalleled possibilities. It's a sport, first off, that you're invited to. So you have to feel comfortable in accepting that invitation.
Right.
And as we both share with each other, golf is the green boardroom. It's where business relationships are created and decisions are made. And so we want kids who look like us to have that comfort level, and more importantly, to have that game in their toolkit. So when asked, they can go and they can play. Because mom and dad and grandma and grandpa have always taught us we've got to work 4 times harder, and we do. But we go and we work hard each and every day. Meanwhile, Buffy and David are out on the golf course, and they're your boss in 6 months.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
that's- yeah.
I think the biggest gift that anybody can give to a young, particularly African American child, male and female, is teaching them the sport of golf. Being comfortable at a country club, being comfortable if someone invites you out to play, being comfortable just talking golf. You don't. It's a mistake to think you have to excel at the sport in order to participate. You just have to be able
Yes.
to talk
Right.
about it. You
Yes.
just have to feel comfortable showing up. And if you show up, then you build the relationships. Once you build the relationships with Buffy
Right,
and
right.
whomever,
Becky,
Becky and
David,
Buffy
Chuck.
and David and whomever, then you will get more business, then you will get more promotions because they
Right.
will like you and they will engage and feel comfortable with you. And that's when we say the green boardroom. I think it's really important for people to understand when we say that we're talking about the relationships that get built after playing this game with someone for a certain number of hours. Through that relationship is where the world opens up to you in terms of how you can advance both your professional and your personal.
Yeah, and you know, if I just could speak probably from a personal perspective, I was, you know, a lot of people, you know, don't realize this about me, is that I really see life through a single parent's eyes, a single African American mother's eyes. So for a large extent, you know, I'm kind of trying to figure out how to pay the bills and keep my kids going and things like that. And so, but I knew athletics was probably going to be a part of my life. I just didn't know how. I knew I came from an athletic family, and I wasn't sure whether my twins could actually play a sport or could play sports. Just didn't know that. I mean, later on, of course, I have a daughter that's a pro tennis player who goes to NC State. My son is on, you know, tennis scholarships as well at Morehouse. So I had no idea about the opportunities that really came about when I look at it from like a personal perspective, that opened up doors for my own kids that I never even could do that for them. You know, and I'm not saying that your kids had to play tennis or play a sport at my kids' level. I really didn't know. My sister just encouraged me, let them go play t-ball when they were little. Let them go play tennis on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Let them go and play football. My daughter was like the water girl. She really couldn't play football. And then they played baseball, and I put him in one summer. I let him even do equestrian riding one summer. Then another summer, I put him in like a golf tee, the tee program by my house out in Fort Washington. So I kind of tried to expose them, because my sister exposed me to the benefits that really I didn't have growing up. I knew I could play all kind of sports, but I'm a little older, we didn't have the available sports to us growing up like women have now. So I could play everything, but there really wasn't that kind of opportunity for me. But I knew my kids, I wanted to try to do that. And sports really has opened up a way. And I'm a single parent, so I say that to women all around that are raising kids that think from say my perspective, that don't really know how to get their kids involved, or don't have a husband, or don't have a male around, or something like that. You should get your kids involved in sports. Even if they don't end up playing, at least they can have conversation,
Exactly.
about sports.
Exactly. It's funny. We've got a great program, Birdies to Eagles, at City Swing that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
But there's also one of our programs is Learn to Earn, and that's our caddy program.
Wow.
And I share that for a couple reasons. One, it allows kids, both girls and boys, to caddy. And what happens is they go, they make really good money. I had one kid call me this past June. It was his first time, and he was all excited. He said, Mr. Craig, I made $210 in tips. And so in 4.5 hours, he made about $450. But more importantly, he also got to play that same course, which was congressional, for up to 8 days later for free. Wow. And so I share this story because when that kid went back to school, and he goes to Georgetown Prep, and the others said, what did you do this weekend? He goes, oh, I played golf.
Yep.
Not just golf,
Right.
golf at Congressional.
Exactly. And they're like,
What did you do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, Congressional? Well,
Yeah.
well, how'd you get there? I got there.
Right.
Well, how did you play?
Yeah.
I took my clubs out and I played.
Right.
So now you're changing, as Tari said, the conversation.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting back going, well, how did Chris do that? We might need to have him come over and come in.
Yeah.
And so kids need to realize that this sport affords them that opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. Did you want to add something to that,
No,
Tari?
I think
No.
I couldn't have said it better.
Okay, so let's talk about that program. What's it called? It's called the
Birdies to Eagles.
Well,
it's two
backing
programs.
Oh, I thought
Let
it was
us talk about
backing
Golf My
birdies.
Future, My Game first, and then we can talk about how we is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. You
how
want
we
to
partner
talk about?
together.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why don't
So,
you talk about your
all right.
foundation?
So Golf My Future, My Game, we work with multicultural talent bases, communities of color, and we bring our communities into the business and sport of golf.
Okay.
So we pique their interest in golf. We create a connection to the game through their lens, and then we drive opportunities and advance inclusion in the game and sport of golf.
Okay.
Golf is an $84.1 billion a year industry, and there are lots of jobs in this industry. So Tari and I were talking one day about this, and obviously she's a woman, and she said, well, how do we get the young girls involved in this? And I do have a 15-year-old daughter, so I'm partial to making sure that she's a part of the conversation also. So I think we talked and we came up with Birdies to Eagles. And we have a very strong supporter in Coach Kate Chanel, who is the Georgetown University women's golf coach.
Okay.
And she has made her golf team there for us. So essentially, the Georgetown women's golf team are the Eagles, and then our girls are the Birdies.
Oh,
Thus,
that's
Birdies
sweet.
to Eagles. But the
That's
thing
sweet.
that is like the cherry with the icing on the cake is where we have it, which is City Swing, which is what owned and operated and managed by an African American woman. So now these girls are able to see golfers but they also see themselves in tarring.
Yeah.
And they can say, well, heck, I can do that. So that was the Jefferson, I mean,
Okay,
Yeah.
Tari, go
No,
ahead.
I
Talk
love
about
it.
that. Yeah.
I agree. If you see it, you believe you can be it. And
Yes.
they are seeing young women play golf competitively at a very high collegiate level. They are seeing a woman-owned business. And through all of that, they are seeing male counterparts that support them and support their advancement. And through all of that, it's just a tremendous, tremendous program. They are meeting each other, so they're able to network with other young girls that have an interest in golf. So Birdies to Eagles is a home run right now, and can't wait to grow it. Let me tell you a little bit about City Swing. Is that okay?
Yeah,
And
that's what I wanted you to get into.
so
Yep.
City Swing is the first indoor golf facility in Washington, D.C. Indoor golf is also called screen golf. There are a number of different indoor golf facilities just starting to pop up around the country. In South Korea, this is extremely big. In South Korea, they call indoor golf kind of like Starbucks, where there's a facility on every corner over there.
Wow.
And we're just starting to see this new technology and this new sport come to the United States. And so we're on the forefront of a really big wave. I think all types of entertainment facilities like a Top Golf that combine the activity of sport with food and beverage is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in this country. They actually call it the eatertainment industry.
Oh, is that what they're calling it?
Really?
Entertainment?
Yeah.
That's actually a good one, 'cause it
Eatertainment,
does make
yeah,
sense,
yeah.
though.
The
I can do
higher-
that forever.
So I am so excited about what we're doing in DC. I was able to get a little bit ahead of the curve and be the first one in DC. So that's a huge accomplishment, and we are just running hard to continue to grow the business. We want to be a national brand. We are a for-profit organization that's trying to make golf more convenient and accessible to people that live and work in urban areas. And so imagine a bunch of indoor golf facilities in all urban areas around the country. That's what some people say we're like an indoor Top Golf, and I'm okay with that. However, we actually want you to be a place where you think about coming to learn the game, a little bit less social than just the social aspect of Top Golf, and actually truly a place where you can be social and learn at the same time. Because my personal mission is to get more women and people of color playing this sport, that's where the partnership with Craig and his organization is so important to City Swing. We are not a nonprofit. We are very much a for-profit organization, but I believe that being profitable and doing right, doing good, making a way for other people, they don't have to compete against each other. You can have those interests be aligned. So with everything that we do at City Swing, we think about how do we give back? How do we expand the number of participants that play golf, that feel invited into the game? So I would say partnering with Craig is a very important strategic decision for our company as we continue to grow around the country. And so Birdies to Eagles, we'll get into the other things that we do together, but that's one of many opportunities where we can fulfill our philanthropic goals.
That's excellent. Okay, so Tari, just bring me back, and we'll go back for a second and
Okay.
just talk about how your interest, even in City Swings and all of the whole thing, how did it even come about? Because
Yeah.
I think that's interesting in and
Yeah.
of itself.
Okay, so like Craig said, my dad first taught me how to play golf. He was a really big golfer. Over 20 years ago, he put my first golf club in my hands. Actually, that's not true. My mom had my brother and I go and take golf lessons so that we could take my father out for Father's Day and
cute.
play golf with him. So my dad was the
Okay.
inspiration, but let me give credit where credit
Credit
is
is
due,
due, your
right?
mom.
Mama Cash put
I
the
get
golf
that.
club
Okay.
in my hand with an instructor.
She would appreciate that.
It's a funny story because my dad will say it was the worst Father's Day ever because he was a good golfer, and you get this, he was a very good golfer. We had taken two lessons each, and we go out on Father's Day when it's all men on the golf course.
no, you guys
So we're just like, we held up the whole course. We must have let about, I don't know, 10 different groups pass through,
go
you know,
past
and
us,
he's
go on
like,
through.
what is this? What's going on? But at a young age, you know, because my parents introduced me, it wasn't a sport that I took seriously. It also wasn't a sport where I saw my friends. You know, my friends at the time weren't saying, let's go to the golf course. You know,
Right.
we were trying to go to the basketball court to watch the guys play.
Right.
So I didn't take to the sport then. But as soon as I got into my adult professional career and I started to understand that golf was a way that I could build better relationships with the men, the white men that I was working with, I said, there's something to this game that I need to know. And so I started to play more and I started to invest in my game. It's also as you get a little bit older, you realize you're not going to go play pickup basketball or, you know, you're not even run as much, you know, for me outdoors. So golf is a way for me to continue to fulfill my sort of competitive interests with myself and with other people. So it decided I wanted to invest in the game and learn more. I live in downtown DC and I'm a member out at Woodmore, 12, 15-mile drive,
Yes.
but in traffic can take
take-
well over an hour.
Yes.
And on those days when it was taking well over an hour, I wouldn't even attempt to get to the golf course. And the one thing that's true about golf is if you can't practice, if you can't swing, you're not going to improve. You're just going to continue to be frustrated. And so I said, you know, indoor golf should exist somewhere where I could just walk. The way I think about walking to a boutique fitness studio in downtown DC, I should be able to walk to an indoor golf facility.
Right.
And literally it was that idea that that prompted me to start researching the indoor golf business. I've worked around some tremendous entrepreneurs, and so I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And it was just the right time where the idea and the market and the opportunity all converged at the same time. Simultaneously, my golf partner, when I decided I wanted to get more serious in golf, Valencia McClure, who she and I joined Woodmore around the same time. When we joined, we weren't great golfers. But we were committed to learning.
Okay.
And her CEO, she works for a company in the gas industry, so pretty male-dominated electric and gas industry. Her CEO invited her out to play, and she said, I don't think I'm good enough yet. And I was like, you know what, just go, just try it. And I think because she knew she had my support, even though I wasn't there, I was encouraging her, nudging her to go. She went, and she didn't, you know, she played well enough for him to invite her out a second time.
Oh, okay.
And then a third time, and each time she's getting better. It didn't matter how good she was. It mostly mattered that she was willing to go. And it didn't take very long for her to get promoted to SVP of her organization. And I think we both recognize that it's not only because of golf, but it's about putting yourself in the position to build those relationships and to be seen by the more senior people in your organization. So when I saw that happen before my eyes, I said, it is my responsibility to get more women, to get more young African American girls and boys into this game because we need to be there.
Yeah. No, it's very true because even I can remember with myself being marketing manager of a healthcare company, the very first big event that we hosted to generate partnerships and collaborations with different companies was a golf tournament. And luckily I had some golf experience and I was able to navigate through that and speak the language like you said and interact with people and things like that. And then, you know, then contacts came as a result of that. So I mean, it just came later in life for me, but yeah, you know, it came. It comes and you will have those opportunities where you will be able to kind of show your stuff and show what you learn, you know. So I just encourage mothers, fathers, parents, young college kids, just get out and learn the sports, learn it, you know, whatever the sport is, but definitely golf, you know, because that's you guys are here for that. But also, I just like to encourage that because I think that it's such a huge part of life that in our culture we take certain sports as everything, basketball, football, but we don't look at the importance of how sports bridges a lot of gaps in our society. We really don't.
Let's be you're going to answer this better than I am, but let's be clear. African Americans and women have been excluded from country clubs for for forever, right? There are reasons we don't play as much. There are reasons we don't see ourselves there because we weren't allowed to be there. There are
Yes.
still clubs in this country. There is a club in Maryland today that does not allow women members. There are several clubs that do not have African American members, and so. I just want us to recognize why we're not there. It's okay. We can change that
We can
going
change that
forward.
going
And as
forward.
we start to see more of us there's easier ways to get involved. As organizations like Craig do their thing, we will increase the numbers. But it's important to be intentional about going there because the benefits are too great
Yes.
to not be there.
Yes.
They
Speak, Tari, speak.
Yeah, no, she's right. She there's nothing else. It's one of those things. You can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you don't go. Once you get there, you're
Can't leave
there.
where you don't go. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
it really is that simple. And there's this one story I have. I was on the elevator one day, and I just happened to have a shirt on that had a really famous golf course. And the gentleman said, "Oh, are you a golfer?" And I said, "I am." And then he flippantly goes, "Oh, have you played the course?" And I said, "I have." And he goes, "Well, what did you shoot?" I said, "Well, the first time I was really nervous. I shot, a 98. I said, the second time I was a little hungover, and I shot 103. I said, but then the third time I got myself together and I brought it." And he goes, "Well, wait a minute, wait. He goes, "How many times have you played it?" And I said, 8 or 9. And the door in the elevator opens up. He goes, "Who are you?" And I just went, "Somebody who plays golf." And this was a really, really instrumental change agent in the sports industry who represents lots of high-profile athletes. But it was just
Wow.
the fact
Yeah.
that I had that shirt on. He recognized it, and we talked.
And it brought
And
conversation.
he was just like, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah. No, it's incredible. I mean, I wrote down some stats that I was reading about some of the stuff, Craig, that you've done, but some articles that have been written about this. But, obviously American golfers, it's 70% male, 80% whites control that industry. And then also, just in terms of workers in the golf industry, 90% of them are males, and of those males, 88% are white
Exactly.
males. So, I mean, the numbers are kind of staggering in terms of where do we even go?
Well,
How do we fit into those types of numbers? 80, 90%?
They're not reflective of America, A.
Yeah.
But as Tari and I are saying, we've got to feel comfortable going there, being there. When somebody invites you, you go. You might not be able to play. Charles Barkley can't play golf at all. But every time someone invites him, he's out there being Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
All right? But they're happy he's there, and guess what? He comes away with something. And so that's just the playing side of it. The business side of it. I mean, let's look at the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America.
Okay.
These are folks that make sure that the greens are well manicured, the fairways are soft and lush, the tee boxes are great. I mean, they're the landscaping folks. And there are tons of jobs in this industry, golf course superintendents, that we don't know about. We all have cut grass as kids, all of us.
Right.
So if you cut grass at home, you can cut grass on a golf course and get paid for it and then play the game. We were in Detroit earlier this summer, and it was Monday, the first day of the tournament, and as I'm walking in, I see this barber, and the barber is there for the caddies, because what's happening is these eatery tournament, is that what you call it?
Entertainment.
That. Yeah, that. Well, these PGA tours, these tournaments, they have got to figure out what's value added, because the wear and tear on these players is hard. They're like, "I'm not going to come to this tournament because I'm just tired." But if you've got all these little value added things like barbers, manicurists, pedicures. Who owns those kinds of businesses? Us. So why can we not take that barbershop on the road to the PGA Tour, or the LPGA Tour, or the Web.com Tour, or the Advocates Tour? Jobs that we do every day, they are being done on the PGA Tour.
Right. Wow. That's it. I mean, golf is just, it's a wonderful sport, though, nonetheless. I love to play it, though. And even if I'm not that good, I love to be out there. I think it's like such when you're on the golf course, it's so serene to me. And it's like a certain peacefulness in that particular sport that I don't experience maybe with other sports that are really about, the strongest will survive or something like that. There is something about golf that is very relaxing and peaceful.
Well, I tell people all the time, golf is an endless series of tragedies.
Yes.
Obscured by the occasional miracle.
Yes.
But it's that
It
miracle.
is so true.
That one miracle will bring you back time after time after time.
Yes. Well, speaking of a miracle, let's talk about some of the fun that you've had and then we'll come back into your programs. But I just want to bring up the fact that you participated in a show on ABC called Holy Moly. I have to do this because this was so much fun. I mean, when I was first learning about Craig, that's what a friend of mine, Tom, was saying, "Oh, Lena, you got to meet Craig. He played on Holy Moly. He was on." I was like, how did he get on that show? Holy moly. I mean, and it just looked like so much fun. Hey, guys, do you have the images I sent you of him? Can you please post that of Craig? I cut out some images of you, Craig.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, first of all, Craig, is that your outfit?
That is my outfit. That outfit.
City Swing takes no credit for that.
That's right. She wouldn't let me wear that at City Swing.
City Swing takes no credit, but you do, Craig.
That's
Craig,
right.
how did you find that outfit? I was like, what? How did he find this outfit? I mean, that's incredible.
So when I went to wardrobe, they said, choose what you want.
Okay.
And I looked and I said, this is going to make me stand out. And so as we approached Steph, I stood out. He was like, yo, man, what's happening? And I was like, hey, family, what's up? And he's like, I like the outfit. And I said, thank you. And, I also wore it because on a higher perspective, I wanted to share with our kids, even though you may stand out, you can still stand in and be a part of it.
Oh, yes.
And so that to me was important. And it was funny because I was in Detroit at a Kroger one day in the meat department, and this guy just kept looking at me. And he's like, dude, I know you. And I'm like, yeah, man. He goes, the pants. And I was like, yeah. So, it's done wonders for us, for the foundation. It has really given us exposure, which is great. And also, from me, the biggest benefit is that a child that we work with who can touch me can say, that's my friend, Mr. Craig, and he's on TV. Yeah. And I can tell them, I'm here with you. You can do the exact same thing.
Wow.
And that's what I want them to know.
That's what that's definitely coming across. But one question on the side though, Craig. How good was Stephon Curry?
Steph is good. Steph is a good player.
Is he even good in golf?
Yeah, he's a great player in golf. He messed me up, but he's a great athlete, but he's a wonderful soul.
Is he?
Yes.
Really?
And what's interesting is that Steph's grandfather and my grandparents are from the same hometown in Rocky Mount, Virginia.
Okay.
So I shared that with him when we met, and it kind of, engaged us a little bit more. But wonderful place. Now, he talks a lot of smack.
Oh, he does.
But he can't.
He's like Michael Jordan on that part.
He can play.
He could play.
I think we can take him down, though. We can take him down. All right. Now that golf is coming to Howard, we can practice at Langston. We can practice at City Swing in the winter. And Steph, come on over to City Swing. We got something for you.
I know. Now that's a great opportunity with golf coming to Howard University, right? Will
It
you
is.
guys be working in some capacity with them at all, or?
We certainly hope so. You know, we're reaching out to the organization. We're just delighted. It's tremendous what he's doing,
Yeah.
and I hope that other HBCUs follow suit.
Yes.
This is going to lift. It should lift the entire DC community, right? Not just Howard, although it'll start there, but it'll
Yeah.
affect the schools, the middle schools, the high schools in the area, and so forth and so
Yeah.
on. So I'm excited to see what happens and the network effect of what else gets impacted.
Yeah, and the fact that he started that at a HBCU, because he could have easily just gone on to maybe another division or a school that may have a school that maybe a Division I school that had a feeder school or
Right.
something of some sort, because sometimes they do that, but he didn't do that. He chose Howard University. I think that's how it happened, right?
He did, but you know what? There was a young man named Otis Ferguson.
Okay.
And we've worked with Otis. As a matter of
Okay.
fact, Otis has been trying to bring golf to Howard for the past 2 years.
Okay.
And we've worked with Otis. As a matter of fact, we've given him equipment for Howard students.
Oh, wow.
And so the fact that
good.
Otis, again, like Tari, he stepped out of his comfort zone when he saw Steph, and he persisted. And I always tell people, persistence paralyzes resistance. And next thing you know, Steph is at Langston with Otis. So, we're going to keep doing it because we're going to get Steph over at City Swing.
Yeah, we are. But say that again. I just want to hear
I
that
said
one more time.
persistence paralyzes resistance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
That is
Yeah.
so strong, Craig. Oh my God, I love that. Oh, I love that. I'm telling you. I hope my son is listening. God knows. I swear to God, because we talk all the time. My daughter too. I know my daughter's at a tournament in Oklahoma. She's probably practicing, but maybe my son is watching. I don't know. So let's talk about what's it called, Backing Birdies
Okay.
campaign that you guys are working on, because that's real important, right? Isn't that something
Yes.
you guys are at the forefront right now? Or?
It is.
Okay.
So at City Swing, again, trying to fulfill this mission of making sure that we could create a free, quite frankly, experience for kids from underserved and represented communities within the golf industry. Give them the opportunity to come to City Swing and to have the full experience. We created a program where donors can purchase a 1-hour gift card to City Swing. You're entrusting City Swing to go and find kids from around the DMV area. And we will bring them in and we will show them a fabulous time. We will teach them how to hold a golf club. We will allow them to play a par 3 course. And what I care most, we're pretty intentional about trying to make sure they have fun around the sport of golf with their first interaction. So it's not always just a purely technical, this is, how to hold the club the right way. We just want you to experience that one miracle
Right.
where you feel good and confident about hitting the ball, seeing it go from the tee box to the green, and the excitement of seeing yourself advance, down the course. And so it has been a tremendous program. We started it in July, at very end of June of this year,
wow.
and thus far we've already
Awesome.
put well over 100 young people from the DMV through this experience. They've several of them have played golf for the very first time.
Wow, that's awesome.
Craig has fueled most of those 100 kids.
We're in it together.
Several of them have come through the Golf My Future My Game organization, and
Okay.
so it's really I'm very pleased, and we look forward to doing it more and more.
Wow, that's awesome. So do businesses reach out to you and to City Swings if they want to participate in Backing Birdies, or how does that work?
So you can do either. Yeah, we're so closely
Right.
aligned that
Okay.
it really doesn't matter. We'll figure out how to get. It's mostly if you want to donate, please go to cityswingdc.com
Okay.
and you can look for Backing Birdies. and you can make it's $110 plus 6% sales tax, so $116.60, and for that amount, you're getting 4 kids the opportunity to really have a tremendous golf experience.
Oh, wow. 4 kids can come and play on
4
that.
kids come and play
4
together.
kids get exposed to golf with
Yeah.
that 110
Right.
or $116.
Right. And you know what? And we've talked about this. I mean, kids are kids. Kids are always going to be kids. And what do kids like to do? They like to hang out. Well, we hope that as opposed to hanging out on the street corner or hanging out at the mall, they'll come to City Swing and hang out.
Yeah.
And being at City Swing and hanging out allows them an opportunity to learn a sport, appreciate a business, get a skill, and who knows where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
Because again, like the golf course, you never know who could walk in that course one day. I mean, let's say, you know what, it's the NBA season is approaching. And so
Yeah.
City Swing, which is right there on 5th Street Northwest, 1055.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, which is not far from the Capital One Arena,
Yep.
where all the players stay in that area. You know, they may want to just come over, because what do? After they have their morning shoot-arounds, man, let's go over there. You just don't know. And that's the beauty of this whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, they may sponsor an outing, or they may want to participate in
Yeah.
some sort of activity like that, because I just saw that the Washington Wizards went to, what was it, Dunbar, I think?
Oh, really?
They held practice. They
Oh,
held
wow,
some sort
okay.
of practice. They did like a shoot around. They didn't tell the kids, and showed up with all the kids and stuff like that. So it was kind of exciting, you know. And that would be definitely something that they could,
They can do.
you could marry the
Right.
two with that,
There's
you know what I
so
mean?
many.
Sponsor kids to come over there, play golf with John Wall, or play golf with,
Yeah.
you know, Bradley Beal or somebody like that.
So many of these professional athletes are playing golf. We
They are.
on our
They do.
Instagram we have a series called Who Knew that these people played golf, and the number of current professional athletes that in their spare time are interested in the sport, such as a Stephen Curry, is really significant and probably will surprise a lot of people. But I think it's a great idea. Have these athletes come. We can bring the kids, have them play, form teams together. There's so much you can do around indoor golf,
Yeah.
and it could be a lot of fun.
And it doesn't just have to be during a certain weather. It can't
No.
rain. It can't, you know, that's the great thing about City Swings, is that you can play that year round, because it is indoor. It's a simulator. And so you can create that whole golf experience for the kids. They can actually learn how to swing, and they don't really have the pressure of being on
That's exactly right.
the you know, the
Course.
fairway or the
Right.
course,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because that can be intimidating. But here they're actually in a simulator, and they learn how to play, and they actually can focus more on the mechanics than maybe, you know, being outside and looking all around.
Well,
You
also,
know,
they're
I
with
mean,
each
that's just
other.
so great.
Yeah, they're also with each other. And so you've got the whole posse mentality. All right, you've got your crew with you, and you're learning with your crew.
Yeah,
So it's a different kind of experience.
yeah,
Yeah,
As opposed to, as you both said, being on the course alone,
yeah.
yeah.
messing up.
Messing
You know, when
up
you're
and
with your
holding
crew,
up people
exactly.
from playing,
Right.
stuff like that. And you know, a lot of kids are into video games, things like that. So the simulator goes really hand in hand with where kids are right now too, because
They love
if
it.
you don't take them away from the video game, they want to be with video games. They don't necessarily want to be, you know, sometimes outside. So this actually gives them the effect as if they are playing a game, or they can watch themselves, they can watch their swing, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
for those of
that's a
you
lot
that
of fun.
haven't seen a simulator, imagine a 10.5-foot high screen, 15 feet wide, that has a simulated, you know, golf course on it. It literally feels like you've stepped into a video game.
It
And
does.
that is
That's what I was
kids-
saying.
Yeah, and that's what
that
it feels like.
that's important to kids right now. I hate to say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you can capture them and marry that, is to get them through where they are.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Meet them
saying?
where
Like
they
you
are.
said, Creek, where they are. So
Yep.
you guys just talk real quick about how do people reach you? How do people reach you, Craig? More information about your foundation, and then just give your information as well, once again, Tari, too.
Sure.
All right. So for us, you can go. We have our website, which is www.golfmyfuturemygame.org. We are also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on all that social media stuff, and that's all I can tell you. But you could also just always Google and call us at the office too, because we're based right here in Washington D.C., up in Friendship Heights. You call, I'll certainly call you back, but that's how you reach us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was
Any
that okay?
number? Yeah.
Yeah, our number,
number?
our phone number is 202-478-9644. I've never had a beautiful woman ask me for my number, so I was shy. I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
Craig, you are funny.
So silly.
Go ahead, Tari.
And for us at City Swing, our website is cityswingdc.com. Our phone number is 202-902-0983.
Okay.
And you can call to make a reservation. So you can reserve the simulator in time increments. You can do it for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or hour-long increments.
Can people do that online?
You can also
too?
do that online on our website.
Okay.
Exactly. We offer lessons with golf pros if you'd like to take a lesson. We have competitive leagues if you'd like to enter a two-person league that goes on for 4 weeks at a time. We have a wonderful women and wine event called Sip and Swing, which is really great for particularly those that have had an interest in learning golf but haven't gotten started yet. It's a lot more about the wine and the food than it is about the golf, but we make sure that you leave there understanding a bit about the golf. So that's a pretty good overview of the programming that we have at this point in time, and all of that can be found on our website. The last thing I would say, the most important thing for us is private events. So if you're thinking about a birthday party, or if you're part of a corporation and you want to have a holiday party or a team bonding, a team building event, all of those things, we can do a really good job at City Swing, bring in some wine, food, heavy hors d'oeuvres for you, and it's a really classy entertainment type activity.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
You know,
Craig, do you miss politics at all? You've been a mover and shaker with just about everybody in
Yeah.
the political scene.
I have been. No, I don't miss it today because it's crazy.
Yeah.
One other thing I do want to share before I answer that question, though, and not only having a great caddy with City Swing, we also have a wonderful partnership with the Marlton Golf Course, which is in Upper Marlboro.
Which is an
And I share that because the general manager there, Jimmy Garvin, there are 15,000 plus privately owned golf courses in this country, 15,000 plus. And of those 15,000, one, two, three, four are African American owned. And one of those is the Marlton. The Marlton has been very supportive of us, especially with our STEMA program.
Okay.
And when folks go to our website, they'll see our various programs. But I just wanted to make sure that I shared that, because to have an African American an African American golf course,
Yeah.
and then to have an African American indoor opportunity, we really are fortunate.
Yeah.
And I say that because as fortunate as I am to have both of them is as fortunate as I was in my 35 plus year of politics. I mean, I started with Reverend Jesse Jackson back in 1985.
Yup.
I was this assistant to the White House Chief of Staff in the Clinton administration. There was a man by the name of Ronald H. Brown, who was chair of the DNC.
Yup.
And one of the things that he shared with me is the model that my partner and I are living every day, which is, he said, little fella, because that's what he called me. He said, you can always do both well and do good. And that's what we're doing. All right? And so he lives with me every day. I was fortunate to see the country and the world. I mean, I've drank vodka with Boris Yeltsin, former president of Russia. I have had a conversation with the late President Nelson Mandela in South Africa.
Wow.
I mean, my life, who would have ever thought a young fat kid from Dayton, Ohio would have an office in the West Wing of the White House, would fly on Air Force One, Air Force Two, meet who I met, and do what I did. And so my life has just been, I've been fortunate. And I want to be able to provide those same opportunities for those who want them and who want to work towards them.
Right, right. That's exceptional. I mean, that's such a great message. One last question though, Craig. How do you actually find the kids?
Well,
Is that the hardest part?
It has been the hardest part. When I first started this back in 2008, I literally would go from school to school trying to convince principals and teachers to do this. Well, now we've been successful, and we have programs here in Washington, D.C. We work with the Detroit Housing Commission in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
We work with WLTZ, Channel 38 in Columbus, Georgia, with Congressman Sanford Bishop. I go after housing commissions because these are kids, we work with community-based organizations, but these are kids where people just don't give a thought about. And these kids have as much talent as any other kid on this country. We were in Birmingham, Alabama. We also work with the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District, and we had a young man who had never played golf his entire life. Went out on the golf course. I thought, who is this kid? He was noticed by the head golf coach from Miles College. The coach looked at him for 3 days. That third day, he said, listen, young man, if you want, you've got a scholarship to Miles College. This kid now had a choice from a housing project. He wanted to go into the military.
Wow.
And we even said, you know what? If you want to go into the military, you can still do that. But just know that you can also play golf
It's not your only choice.
in the military. Because, truth be told, golf courses on military bases are beautiful. Oh my God, gorgeous. I mean, you know,
true.
the enlisted men
Yeah.
and women need to take advantage of these courses so they're with the officers.
Yeah.
So that's just
That's great.
that's how we do it now.
Yeah, that's great. Tari, I just want to say something. You're from Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts. I know Massachusetts has one of the best educational systems in our country. Just after growing up there, going to school there, I finished my school though in our nation's capital. Just speak about did you always think that you were going to go to Harvard Business School, or how did that come about? Just in terms of your own story.
Yeah. So truth be told, yes. I was very fortunate to grow up with a father who was a professor at HBS.
Oh,
and at a very
wow.
young age, he would bring all of the students to our house, and I would grow up with them. And so many of them are now big brothers and big
Okay.
sisters to me. And so that was always in my purview. I know that's not everyone's experience. I would tell everybody out there that getting an MBA is a tremendous thing that you should consider and go after. It's not just about what you learn, it's about the network. I think what happens once you graduate from school, you understand that as important as what you learn, it's the people that you know.
Yeah.
And the networks that you gain from these higher institutions are really the things that will give you tremendous opportunity going forward. So very, very proud, very honored to have to say that it really wasn't a choice for me. You know, that's an awesome thing to be able to say. But I also believe that everybody should go after it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh gosh, I love that though. When I read that, I was like, "Oh, right, she's a Harvard Business School grad. Thank you." So anyway, well, I want to thank my guests. It's time for me to go. They were like telling me every 2 seconds, "I hear you." Anyway, we all love the hustle. Each and every week, I try to bring you some great and wonderful people that are doing some incredible things in our community. As you know, don't forget, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so that's why I have my purple. And I tried to get my like pink in there, but I don't know, it's close to being purple. But anyway, so I try to, each week bring you something that contributes to the message of domestic violence and bringing you more awareness about breast cancer awareness. Please, ladies, go check your breast in the shower. My sister was just reminding me today, go, you got to tell them, check their breast in the shower. So definitely do that. And don't be afraid, even if you find something that's been a big thing, is that the hospital was just telling her today that a lot of women are not checking their breasts because they just don't want to know. That was something that she reminded me today, so I definitely want to send that message out. Check your breasts. As well as, you know, if you are in a situation where you feel threatened or something, please let somebody know and take care of yourselves. Don't get abused. Don't be neglected. Put yourself first and find a higher love for yourself. I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget, I'll have a plastic surgeon next week. Hey, you only have one life. You got to make the best of it. So sometimes you got to be a little surface. Me, you know, I like the nails, the hair, the lashes, the makeup, all that. Yes, that's me too. I'm a deep girl, but I'm also, you know, I like all that stuff. So all the fun of being a girl, yes. So I have Dr. Heron next week, and then Dr. Myers, who does all my skincare. Girls getting older, but, you know, got to keep it young right here. So I'll see you guys next week. The Hustle, each and every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Tari.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
so much.
All right. See you guys. Bye.